Hey, what's up guys, I'm Woozle Gaming, and today we are finally going to get our hands on the healing talent respec. Now I know I've been talking about respecing the talents for quite some time. We did the video last week about getting the reset rune, and you can actually buy those for 25k gold. They are not cheap, so you do not want to do this all too often. However, I do have one in the infant. If I go over to the skills, you'll see that I am still spec'd for DPS. However, I will come back to the DPS either tomorrow or Sunday, so definitely stay tuned if you want the DPS one. But for now, we are going to be focusing on the healing one. Now, if I quickly go to the infant and get that rune essence used, click on it, click use. Oh, it's actually called rune treasure. Click on confirm, and you get hold of so many essences. And if you used any cast irons before this as well in your talents, you will also get those back. Now, to start using the talents, you go back to your runes and they all come up in this little border at the top, which is actually very nice because you would have had like a whole mailbox full to the brim if they didn't do this. So basically it's like a storage. Once you get the storage, you can then go back to this and then you can start from scratch. Anyways, I'm actually going to pause the clip here. I'm going to go through, get all the healing ones done, going to do a few more tests, but I've pretty much got everything done that I needed to test before doing this video, and I'll show you and explain the reasons to why you want each skill that I show. So I'll see you in 2 secs. Okay, so I've just finished distributing all of my essences into the skills. So if I go over to the skills talents now, and I'm going to start with the proficiency. Now proficiency is where you actually want to put all of your red stones in. So obviously I've gone 40-40. I can't really tell you guys to start using your cast irons. I would rather personally use those for upgrading my gear and increasing the grade and stuff like that. However, if you have got extras, if you have got spare, I would use them in the proficiency skill. Basically what this does is it increases the arcane shield effectiveness as well as reducing the cooldown. Now arcane shield is actually extremely good. The cooldown is really short and you're going to be using it almost on cooldown. Now let's quickly click decline there. Now also, oh okay, that just came up twice in a row. Anyways, so the arcane shield also has a slightly extra ability, making it even better. That's why the cooldown is actually very good. And that is where you go down to the intelligence. Intelligence is increases the healing effects of normal healing and Mystic Galaxy by 40%. Now that's a lot of extra healing, mostly for the additional, auto attack heal, but the Mystic Galaxy is actually a very nice benefit after you use Aurora or Arcane Shield. So, and it lasts 6 seconds. Basically, you can keep that buff up almost every single time when you use Arcane Shield and Aurora in conjunction with each other, and you're always going to be doing 40% extra healing. Now sometimes you don't need to be healing the boss, or so healing the tanks or healing the raid, and you can be attacking the boss, and that's why I've put all of the additional essences. So obviously you go 40 in the insight, then everything else after that will go into Phantom. Basically when you use Arcane Shield, when you use Aurora, you're going to be dealing extra damage instead of extra healing. You'll still get the healing, obviously, from the insight, obviously. But the Phantom actually does increase the damage that you do to the boss or the mobs or whatever it is you're killing. It's actually a massive damage gain, especially for Shepherds. Although, you've got to keep in mind that as a healer, your job isn't really to be dealing damage, but extra damage is extra damage, and that can make and break a kill. Trust me, healer's damage does definitely mount up. Now you don't need to put any points or any crystals in Deadly Void, and you don't have to put anything in Ignorance either. Leave those two blank. They are pure DPS. And if you're playing a full Shepherd Spec, which in this case this is what the talent skill video is actually for, you will not be using those skills. So going back to those now, we're going to go to the middle column. So obviously you don't need anything in Fierce Seed, and this is where your first 40 is going to be coming in, and that is Propriety. I think I said that right. It increases the crit of your normal healing by 20%. So you don't actually see like a big healing number come up like you do with damage, but the heals are still being able to get crits, and they do extra healing. So having the extra 20% is massive because that's already on top of your original crit rate, and 20% is massive. You're going to be critting almost every single heal, especially if you're rocking like 50% crit or 40% crit, depending on how good your gear is. So that would go on top of that, and yeah, that is massive. Now Academic is one that you want to put in afterwards. I'm going to come to that in just a second, because the next one you want to get points in is the Ancient Contracts. Now, I actually ran out of runes, the big stones, to actually get that to level 40, which was unfortunate, but you definitely do want to get that to level 40. Reason being is because that will increase your spell damage or spell healing, and it works for everything. So it works for your Aurora, it works for your Purifying Blast, it works for your auto hits, it works for everything. And not just that, it also helps out your whole raid. If any other mystics go inside of your sigil, they're going to be getting a 19.5% boost on top of their original arcane realm. So it is actually extremely strong, and that is not only just good for yourself, but like I said, very good for the raid, and that's why you want to get that to 40. I would obviously do that after you've gone for the propriety though, because you're focusing more on yourself, not on the raid. Plus the DPSers should also be putting all their points in the Ancient Contracts anyway. Now, Arcane Realm, I've got that to level 20. The reason I got that to level 20 is because I feel like the 2 seconds is more well-rounded. It's not really essential. It's not needed. It's probably the weaker one that I'm going to show you in this list. However, 20 I found to be a really good ballpark, and I wouldn't really go any higher unless if you've got like extras and you've got like academic to 40 by that point. But this is where you're going to be working on next, is the academic. So obviously it just increases your chance of getting the virtue state. Now virtue is when you use healing spells, more so your normal healings, and when it critical hits, basically when it critical hits, you have a chance of getting the state, and your Mystic Galaxy can heal 2 extra targets during this. Likelihood is that you probably don't need it. You won't get it when you need it, and that is why it's not that fantastic. The chance of getting it is fairly slim, and even at level 40 it's only a 20% chance. And like I said, when you actually get it, you probably don't need the Mystic Galaxy to be healing to other people, but in some rare scenarios that can be extremely helpful. You also don't need anything in positive feedback. Reason being, you're not going to be using Dreadful for the Golem, and you're not going to be using Force of Will, so again, those ones are pretty useless. Now, going into the last column, you don't need anything in the Heart one, but Reliability. Now, Stability is why I've got 30 in at the moment. Now, this is the one that you're going to be working on last. Reason being is because it only affects damage. I have tested it. It doesn't work for healing. It only works for damage, as it actually says. However, sometimes the damage does work for healing. So I'm just clarifying that doesn't work for healing. It's only for damage. So this is mostly for those who are doing like Elemental Lords and you're playing Shepherd. Although for Elemental Lords, you should probably be playing Magellana's Judgment using my DPS healing Mystic Guide that I did the other week. But it does help out on boss damage, especially when you use it in conjunction of the intelligence with the insight. So not insight, the phantom. So when you're using your auroras or your arcane shields, you can use the stability extra normal attacks, dealing even more damage. It just bumps out Shepherd's damage a tiny bit more. That's essentially all that one does. The only other skills that are worth using in the last column for Shepherds is the bottom right one. And in all fairness, Aurora isn't that great of a skill, but it's still a healing skill nonetheless, and you will probably still end up using it. So you want to increase the Aurora shield effect by 20%, making it fairly decent actually. And you can also decrease the cooldown with the order. Now, as I've said, Aurora, you're not probably going to be using it on cooldown. You will if you're doing it purely for damage. However, if you're using it purely for healing, it's very situational. So because of that, you're not really needing it off cooldown all that long. So I've kind of put points into the cooldown part, more so for the damage. And like I said, it kind of works towards with the reliability, with the stability. All these names, man. But yeah, it's just, it all works together. And that is why I've kind of made this guide. So this is more a Shepherd healing, but also working a little bit in the damage department without using any of the damage skills. So where this spec is going to really be beneficial to you guys is raiding, heroic raiding, progressive raiding. I really got to keep myself in a party for these videos. So yeah, I really hope that this will help a lot of you out. And to be honest, it's fairly simple. Like, you should really know what you're meant to be using, but it's just to clarify you on which order to go in. So if I quickly just go over that real fast again, you want to go priority, proficiency for your arcane shield. Very important. After that, you're going to be working on the insight, and then last but not least, you go for phantom. So it goes arcane shields, insight, phantom. Middle column, your top priority is the propriety, so you want the increased crit rate. And then after that, you want to work on Ancient Contract, followed by Arcane Realm. After that, you are then going to be going over to the Reliability. Actually, no, tell a lie. You're going to be working on your Aurora. That's it. So you're going to work on Virtue. Get Order up to what you're kind of happy with. I would honestly work this alongside Stability, get them up together, because you're not really going to be needing the cooldown reduction on Aurora all that much, and you're going to be wanting the extra damage from the Stability. So yeah. Anyways, I hope that this is going to help a lot of you healers out. This has cost me 25k gold, so I hope you appreciate it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm Woozle Gaming. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and don't forget to tune in for the damage one. The damage one is a lot better. So yeah, and not just that, right? I'm not sure if you noticed, I actually even changed to the Shepherd Spec, even though it's only level 1. Just felt right, you know, for the Shepherd video. Anyways, I'll see you all in my next video. Take care, everyone.